Welcome to the first fact video series of all the Pokemon. Today, we're doing the very first Pokemon, being Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is one of my favorite starter Pokemon of all time, so I hope you guys enjoy these 5 facts about it. In Pokemon Gold and Silver, Bulbasaur is programmed to learn Charm as an egg move, despite having 0 parents who can legitimately pass the move down. In Pokemon Sun and Moon, Bulbasaur learned Vine Whip at level 7 and 9. However, at level 7, it was supposed to learn the move Leech Seed. This was later fixed in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. The island of Niue in Oceania released a Bulbasaur coin with the Niue coat of arms on either side. In the Pokemon anime, Bulbasaur was incorrectly able to learn the move Whirlwind. There is a genus of Dicynodont named the Bulbasaurus phylloxera, or the Bulbasaurus for short. While it wasn't intended to be named after Bulbasaur, it still is a very interesting coincidence. Ivysaur is the only second stage grass poison type Pokemon that doesn't require an evolutionary stone to evolve into its final stage. In Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Ivysaur is the only Pokemon that the Pokemon trainer uses that does not use an HM. Squirtle uses Waterfall. Meanwhile, Charizard uses Rock Smash and Fly. In the episode Bulbasaur's Mysterious Garden, Ivysaur actually has the ability to manipulate nature that is surrounding them. Ivysaur has never once lost a battle in any form of Pokemon's animated media. Ivysaur is the only Generation 1 starter that doesn't evolve at level 36. Ivysaur instead evolves into Venusaur at level 32. If the player chooses Charmander as their starter in Pokemon Red, Blue, Fire Red, or Leaf Green, you cannot register Venusaur in your Pokedex without trading. While you can't normally encounter Venusaur in the wild, its catch rate in the main series Pokemon games is 11.9%, which is about as difficult as most box art legendaries to catch. In Venusaur's black and white Pokedex entry, it's stated the flower on its back actually smells stronger after it's just finished raining. Venusaur is Ken Sugimori's least favorite Pokemon design. This is due to how difficult he mentions it is to draw. Venusaur is the only Pokemon to not only be featured in the Super Smash Bros. Series, while also having both of its previous stages as options at least in one or more of the games as well. In Generation 1, Charmander's back sprite seemed to showcase it having spikes. These are not actually present in later generations. However, you can still find them in the Pokemon Adventures and Pokemon Pocket Monsters manga. In the manga, The Electric Tale of Pikachu, the story of Ash and the abandoned Charmander plays out differently. Instead of Ash finding Charmander abandoned for being weak, it was actually abandoned because its trainer was injured and taken to the hospital. Charmander originally had the name Hitokage when the games released in Japan. However, in an effort to appeal more to American children, Hitokage was renamed to Charmander, which combined Char and Salamander. Charmander has actually been drawn with an inconsistent amount of fingers until 2010. Charmander was either shown with 3 fingers and a thumb, or just 3 fingers, before ultimately being drawn as of Generation 5 and onward with a 3-finger design. Charmander's flame on its tail is actually connected to its ability to survive. If the flame goes out, Charmander would end up dying. Despite Charmeleon's name sounding similar to the word chameleon, the Japanese name for Charmeleon, being Lizardo, actually more accurately refers to lizards, which Charmeleon was actually based around. Charmeleon, as well as the rest of its evolutionary family, share the same exact stats as the Cyndaquil evolutionary line. When Charmeleon swings its tail, you can actually feel the temperature around it become unbearably hot. Charmeleon shares the title of the Flame Pokemon, with Flareon, Moltres, and Infernape. Despite how long it normally takes for Charmeleon to evolve into Charizard, did you know that Ash only actually used Charmeleon for a total of 3 episodes? It evolved from Charmander in March of the Executor Squad, and was also used in The Problem with Paris and Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. Charizard is one of 2 Pokemon with more than 1 Mega Evolution, the only other being Mewtwo. Charizard is the most commonly used Pokemon among champions, being used on 4 different occasions. In the Pokemon of the Year poll from 2020, Charizard was voted the most popular among every Generation 1 Pokemon, even defeating the mascot Pikachu. Charizard was the inspiration for naming the Chilicolo Charizard, which is a species of stem-nesting bees. The discoverer, Spencer K. Moncton, thought of the name as like Charizard. The bees were also found in mountainous regions and had an orange coloration. Despite all 3 Kanto Starters being in Sword and Shield, Charizard is the only one you can find in the Pokédex unless you buy the DLCs. As a species, Squirtle has been trained the most out of any other Kanto Starter in the anime. Ash, May, Gary, and Tierno have all previously owned this Pokemon. Squirtle's Japanese name is Zenigame, deriving from Zeni, which means money, and Kame meaning turtle. In the Pokemon Black and White television program PokeQuiz, it was revealed that it got the name because the shell looks like an old coin. In the first season of the Pokemon anime, Ash's first starter choice was not actually Pikachu, but instead Squirtle. Ash's Squirtle was the only Pokemon on his Kanto team that neither evolved or refused the chance to evolve. Despite having access to the move Surf, Squirtle can actually drown in the game Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This was most likely done to avoid giving it an unfair advantage. However, it doesn't fit well considering Squirtle can actually swim. Despite being a reptile, Wartortle's ears and tail both actually are made up of fur. Even though the official Sugimori art showcased Wartortle's ears being lighter than its head, early promotional art showed the ears having the same color as its face. Wartortle's tail is a symbol of longevity and good luck, which makes it popular among the elderly. While we typically don't know the lifespans of Pokemon, Wartortle are actually said to live at least 10,000 years according to Pokédex entries, for games such as Pokemon Y, BDSP, and the Generation 5 games. Ever wonder why a Wartortle might have algae on its shell? Algae on their shells typically is a sign the Wartortle is considered to be very old. Despite being the mascot of Pokemon Blue, when the Kanto remakes were announced, Blastoise was substituted out as the mascot, and instead, the Pokemon opted for Leaf Green with Venusaur as the mascot. Early concept art for the Pokemon Caravaggio, the Pokemon later adapted into Blastoise. It actually lacks the signature shoulder cannons we associate with Blastoise. Mega Blastoise is the only starter Pokemon Mega Evolution to not have a dual typing. Blastoise is considered the shellfish Pokemon, which is a category it shares with Kabuto and Kabutops. Blastoise's cannons are thought to be derived from how mussels have similarly functioning tubes.